And welcome everybody to tonight's National Auto Racing Club Dirt Late Model Series presented by the School of Sim Racing. I am Thomas Brandon and I'm joined in the booth tonight by my man Jordan Eder. Jordan, you don't run a lot of late models, but you do run Eldora. What's going to be the key for these guys tonight here at the High Banks?
Yeah, like you said, I don't run much of these late models here, but I'm assuming this track's kind of going to mirror in the same way it does a little bit with the sprint cars, to where that outside lane at the end of the feature is going to get real bumpy. So I'm kind of curious to see how these guys are going to handle the way that kind of goes around with the racetrack here.
Yes, absolutely. It gets really bumpy and it usually gets right on the wall. And as you can see right now, qualifying is underway and they are already up on the cushion running as we've got Joshua Hart getting his qualifying laps in right now. First lap is a 15.5 and that's going to put him towards the middle of the pack right now with his second lap basically the same 15.57. So qualifying wrapping up already, and it looks like so far quick time belongs to Kyler Bruce with a 15.14 for Kyler Bruce. So tonight's race, like we said, here at Eldora with the super late models, this track gets really fast. It gets also really hairy up on the top. And one of those things that these guys are going to have to be very careful of is hitting that wall, because these cars, believe it or not, actually need the aerodynamics that that rear spoiler provides. And when you go crumpling that thing up, banging it off the wall, it can have a really negative effect. So it'll be interesting to see how these guys handle that tonight.
Yeah, and like you said, the last thing you want at a track like this is to have any type of handling going the way you don't want it to. If you can't handle the car around this track, you're in for a long night here.
Absolutely, especially with the speeds that these guys are carrying going into the corners. You do not want an ill handling race car. And as big as this track is, it does have some really tight racing in these cars. So you want to make sure that you keep yourself clean so you can have a good run and have a car that will be not only fast but handling well at the end of the race when the track gets slick, because it will definitely get slick.
Looks like Kyler Bruce right now, that 15.142, that's going to hold up for pole here unless Zane Walters or Mason Inman can put down a heater.
Yeah, Zane is pretty fast in these. Mason is also pretty fast. It'll be interesting to see if they can edge out Kyler. Kyler's actually really good in these cars. He has one win on the season already. Coming into tonight, he's third in the points. There's a really tight battle for the points lead right now, as Travis St. Clair is winning, or leading, I should say, the standings with 532 points. But right behind him is Brandon Freeberg, who also has 2 wins on the season. He's at 524, and Kyler Bruce is just 1 point behind Freeberg with 523. So really tight points battle coming in to tonight's race. We've already done 5 races so far this season. Those top 3 have won all 5 races, and it'll be really interesting to see what they're going to be doing tonight and who's going to come out on top after tonight's event.
It would just be fitting that the top three guys in points are top three here in qualifying tonight. So that just tells you the kind of skill that we're dealing with here in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys are really good in these cars. Kyler is somebody who has actually ran NARC in the late models for a couple of seasons. Last season, he ran only a race or two. The season before that, he didn't run, but the season before that, he dominated in the pro late models. So definitely got experience in this league. Was shown to be a very good driver. Has won multiple races in NARC, and like you said, the top 3 here, Bruce, Freeberg, and St. Clair, all 3 of them have won races this year and are showing to be the class of the field as we reach week 6 here on the season. So it looks like qualifying is going to wrap up here. No one's going to be able to challenge Kyler Bruce as he is going to get tonight's starting position in heat race number 1 on the pole. And as they are now gridding up here on the track, it is on pole. Like we said, your quick time tonight, Kyler Bruce with the 15.142, and outside of Bruce is going to be Jason Korn. Then on the inside of row number 2 is Scott Smith in the number 53 car, and outside of Smith is Justin M. Powell.
And inside row 3, Joey Neese in the 5 car. The number 02 will take up position number 6 at Patrick Cobb. And round out the field here in 7th is the 57 of Dylan Babcock.
All right, so we've got 10 laps of racing here for heat race number 1, as it's going to be Bruce and Korn leading us here to the start as soon as we get set to pull away. Top 4 will go directly to the feature. Looks like everyone will make the show tonight, so it's just going to be really depending on where you will be lining up in tonight's 40-lap main event. But top 4 go directly to the feature, and the top 2 will put themselves in tonight's redraw. So definitely want to try to be in one of those top 2 positions so you can have a shot at getting on that front row in the feature.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier, those top 3 guys in the qualifying, they would love nothing more than to get one of those top 3 starting spots in the feature here. That way they can try to pull away from the field and have themselves a little 3-way battle. But let's see if anyone else can give them a little challenge here in the heats.
Yep, it's going to be an interesting race here as we are getting ready to go green. Pace truck lights are off. And we are underway in heat race.
Green, green, green.
Excuse me, heat race number 1 as Bruce.
Bruce will jump out to the early lead here as they head into 3 and 4. And you see a lot of guys have taken up that top lane right now. I feel like that's going to be the fastest way around until this track wears in here. You see him starting to pull away. Scott Smith is in second, followed by Jason Korn and Justin M. Powell. Those are your top 4. Those are the 4 transfer spots. They are pulling away from the last 3 guys here as we finish lap number 2.
Yeah, Bruce has a commanding lead right now, and he seems to be pulling away from Scott Smith, as Bruce is definitely showing to have that high line working, as he is up on that cushion, ripping the top right now, as we've got 6 laps to go here in this 10-lap heat race.
Jason Korn, that last lap, had some trouble coming out of 2. He was in a transfer spot, and now he's all the way back into that last position. Looks like he got into that wall and it knocked something loose, and now you can see that rear spoiler you were talking about earlier is kind of banged up, and it doesn't look like that car wants to go straight right now.
Tough break for Jason Korn, as he's pretty good in these cars. Definitely one of the guys you want to look out for. He's got good speed and is definitely consistent in these things. So he's going to have to work his way through the consolation from the back of tonight's feature. But right now, back up front, it is all Kyler Bruce, as he's got himself a half a second lead over his teammate Scott Smith, as we've got 4 laps to go here in heat race number 1.
And that last lap there, Scott Smith looked like he tried to pull a slider in 3 and 4. He kind of got to the rear end of him, of our leader, and Kyler Bruce, but in the end, that top lane right now is just carrying too much momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. Bruce is just really flying around that top, and he's just got such good drive coming off the corner. He just pulls away down those straightaways. So as we come to 1 to go, it is Kyler Bruce with Scott Smith, Joey Neese, and Justin Powell in that fourth and final transfer spot. And Bruce and Smith have absolutely checked out from the field, as Bruce has got a second over Smith and then 3.5 seconds over third place. And Bruce is gonna get the win here in heat race number 1, followed by Scott Smith, Joey Neese, and Justin M. Powell. Jason Korn, after that tough break, was able to work his way back up to 5th place, so he'll be able to start on the pole in tonight's consolation. So good comeback for him after a tough break in heat race number 1. All right, heat race number 2 is now gridding up on the track, and on the pole is Brandon Freeberg, and outside of Freeberg is Brandon Holtmeyer in the number 76 machine. Then in row number 2 on the inside in the 117 car is Jeremy Prey, and outside of Prey in the 41 car is Scott Monksgaard.
Starting in the 5th position is Lane Stevens in the 33 machine. Outside of him is Zane Walters in the 12. And running at our field here in heat number 2 is the 03 car of Jason Andrews.
All right, so once again, we've got 10 laps. Top 4 go straight to the feature, as it will be the Brandon and Brandon show on the front row, with Freeberg on the pole and Holtmeyer on the outside pole.
Not too often where you get a row that's got the same first name.
Nope.
Makes our job a little bit easier here.
Yep. Yeah, also not too often do you get a car that looks like an Astro Pop, but Lane Stevens right now is able to deliver that for us. So kudos to Lane for
Maybe he's working
providing
out a
the summer
deal.
treat. Yeah, there you go.
I'm ready for the warmer weather. I'm sure he is too.
I'm not. I don't even know. We didn't even really have what you would call a winter here in California.
Do you really ever have a winter in California?
Not really. It's usually like a month at most. And this year, our winter, I was gone. I missed it. I was in Mexico, so
I'm sure our friends from the Midwest are saying some words for you right now.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. That's how it is. You don't know what you got till it's gone, so.
Right.
All right, pace truck is off, and we are under green as Freeberg jumps out to a quick lead over Holtmeyer, and they are 3 wide behind him with Prey, Monksgaard, and Stevens all battling there for that 3rd, 4th, and 5th position, as it looks like Monksgaard's going to edge Prey there going into turn 3, but Prey ducks down inside, and he's going to looks like he might pull ahead, as Freeberg is now checking out from the rest of the field here with an early lead over 2nd place Brandon Holtmeyer.
Yeah, you see Prey there diving down to the bottom. He found a little bit of grip come out of 4, and that's what kind of catapulted him into that 3rd position. Now let's see if he can try to get up to 2nd and have a 3-way battle there. But Jeremy Prey's not going, or Scott Monksgaard, sorry, he's not going anywhere right now to make it hard for him for that 3rd position.
No, he's not. Monksgaard's really good in these late models, spends a lot of time racing them, has done really, really well in NARC over the last couple of seasons since he's joined the league, and he's shown tonight that he can run with these guys, because right now he's got a battle on his hands with Jeremy Prey for that 3rd position.
You see now our leader's dropping down to that inside line now, so we're starting to see this track kind of wear in a little bit, where we're going to get more than just the guys running around the top here, so this racing is going to get a little bit more exciting here in the heats to come.
Yes, it is. Freeberg's definitely got that bottom working right now. Usually we don't see the bottom come in until a little bit later, but it looks like he's got something going down there earlier on, so it's going to be interesting to see how this track wears in tonight, because right now he's got that thing going on the bottom. But it looks like Holtmeyer's found that line too, and he's starting to close in on Freeberg in 1st place, as we've got 4 laps to go here in heat race number 2.
Lane Stevens making that top side work in 1 and 2, gets right up to the bumper of Jeremy Prey going into 3 and 4. 3-car battle here for that final transfer spot, and Lane is pushing across the start-finish line here to take away that 4th spot and fight for a 3rd spot.
Yes, Lane Stevens, not known for his late model driving. He's more of an open-wheel dirt guy, but he's out here tonight, and he's battling right now for that 4th and final transfer spot, as we've got 2 laps to go here in heat race number 2. Oh, and he gets up into the wall, and that's going to hurt his chances right there. So he's now going to have to battle back on the top side around Monksguard in that 41 car.
Gave him that a good old announcer's curse here. And see if he can get his momentum back up as we got white flag here.
So back up front, it is all Brandon Freeberg as he is going to win heat race number 2. And our battle for that 4th and final transfer spot will go to Lane Stevens as he pulls ahead of Scott Monkspark and gets that spot by just 0.07 of a second. So Lane Stevens battles back, grabs that 4th and final transfer spot in heat race number 2. All right, so gridding up now, heat race number 3. And on the pole is your points leader in the NARC Dirt Late Model Series. That's Travis St. Clair. And outside of St. Clair is Blake Andrews. Then on the inside of row number 2 is Ryan Burkhart. And outside of Burkhart is Brendan Howe.
And in row number 3 inside, position number 5 is the 66 machine of Ryan Wagenschutz. Outside him in the 058, that's Joshua Hart. And running up our last heat here is the number 20 car of Mason Inman.
All right, so once again, 10 laps, top 4 go straight to the feature, and top 2 will be in that redraw.
Curious to see how we saw in that second heat there, that bottom line was starting to come in a little bit to give that top lane a run for its money. Let's see how that wears in here with this heat, with these top 2, see what they want to do here.
Yeah, after that last heat race, we saw Freeberg running the top, running the bottom. Both lines seem to be fast. You can see the marbles are now being kicked up into the middle of the track, which can definitely provide some grip for these guys. So it'll really be interesting to see how these guys attack this track here in this 3rd heat race. All right, pace truck is off, and we are underway as St. Clair jumps out to an early lead, and it looks like he's going to bring Burkhart with him into the 2nd place, as Blake Andrews did not get a very good start there. As he now looks back to the inside, Andrews fighting back, looking to get that 2nd position back from Burkhart.
Burkhart's just going to have too much for him, and he's going to be in that second, or I'm sorry, Andrews was going to be in that 2nd position. Burkhart seems to be falling back now as he gets into the wall on the backstretch. That's going to really harm his momentum there as Howell gets right up to the rear end of him, has to check up.
Yeah, as we've got just 2 laps down, but St. Clair and Andrews are already starting to pull away from the rest of the field as St. Clair's right up on the top. Andrews running the bottom there in 3 and 4. Looks to be closing the gap slightly coming out of the corner there.
Yep, you see that inside line in 3 and 4 might have a lot of grip down there. See if they want to keep going down there or not. If that top lane does keep up a lot of momentum. It looks like St. Clair's going to ride that top side again, keep his momentum up, and he's starting to pull away as Andrews does get into the wall a little bit there in 1 and 2.
Yeah, St. Clair's starting to pull away from Andrews, and like we said, he is the points leader coming in, and he's showing exactly why he is so good in these cars. As he has already opened up a half a second gap over Blake Andrews in 2nd place with a 2-second gap over 3rd place Ryan Burkhart.
And right now towards the back of the field, if we go back there, we got a 4-car battle for the last 2 transfer spots here.
Yes, we do, as we've got a big-time battle going on as Ryan Burkhart and Ryan Wagenschutz trying to hold on to that 3rd and 4th position as Joshua Hart and Brendan Howe are fighting there for that 4th and final transfer spot.
Burkhart looks like he's going to seem to pull away from the pack there as we come to 2 to go for them. checked out if he takes the white flag right now.
Yes, he is. It has been all Travis St. Clair through this race so far as he's gotten himself, it looks like, a victory for heat race number 3 wrapped up as he comes out of turn 4 and takes the checker flag. Travis St. Clair is going to get the win here in heat race number 3, followed by Blake Andrews, Ryan Burkhart, and it looks like Ryan Wagenschutz will grab that 4th and final transfer position. So Wagenschutz able to hold on there and get that 4th and final transfer spot. All right, well, now it is consolation time as we've got our B main now grinning up on the track, and on the pole is going to be Jason Korn, and outside of Korn is Scott Monksgard. And then on the inside of row number 2 in the 3rd position is Brendan Howell, and outside of Howell is Patrick Cobb.
And inside row 3, that's Zane Walters. Starting in the 6th position is Joshua Hart. Row 4 sees Dylan Babcock on the inside, and on his outside is Jason Andrews.
And in the 9th position is going to be Mason Inman, who I actually don't think is here. I think he disconnected, had some issues or something. So looks like we'll have only 8 cars on the track for this last chance qualifier. Everyone will be making it to the feature for tonight's 40 lap A main event. All right, pace truck is off, and we are underway as Jason Korn jumps out to the early lead over Scott Monksgard, Brendan Howell, and Zane Walters in that 4th position. Korn, who had a little bit of trouble in his heat race, dropped all the way back to the tail of the field, was able to work his way back up to 5th, and has now jumped out to an early lead here in this B main event.
Monksgard looks like he's trying to get that middle lane to work there, but as you can see, until he got in the wall there, Brendan Howell was getting very good runs coming off of the corners up top, and now we got a 4 wide almost, 3 wide going into 3 and 4 for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th position.
Yeah, they are 3 wide out of turn 4 there as Walters backs off before getting up into that 41 car of Monksgard. And Monksgard, you mentioned him running the middle. That is what he does. He gets that car usually to work really, really good in the middle. I don't know if that line is quite there yet, but he's definitely trying to work it in as we've got 7 laps to go here in this 12-lap B main event.
Howell just gets to the outside of him, bumps the wall a little bit, doesn't slow him down too much, as he might have enough here to pass him on the outside as we cross the flag for lap 6 complete.
So Howell trying to work that high side, and he just keeps running into that wall. Looks like he got stuck on there that time. He's able to pull away, but that's going to cost him a couple of positions as both Cobb and Hart get around Howell, as Howell's now dropped down to the 5th position, and that's going to give Monksgard a clean track around him, as now he's going to set his sights on our leader, Jason Korn, who is checked out from the rest of the field as he's got a 1.5 second lead over the 2nd place car of Monksgard.
Yep, he's just going to take care of the car and take any information he can right now to get his setup ready for the A main.
Which
The
is
guys
not
behind
a
him are
bad thing to
starting to
do.
pile up. Right.
Not a bad thing to do. This track has definitely changed quite a bit already, and it'll change even more as these guys finish up with this B main event and run that warm-up. It's going to be completely different than what they've seen in their heat races. So might as well get the laps in while you can and try to get a feel for your car so you can get it dialed in for tonight's 40-lap A main event. As we go 1 lap to go, it is all Jason Korn out front right now as he has got himself a 2-second lead over Joshua Hart and Scott Monksgaard, who are battling for that second place position. But it's going to be Jason Korn who gets the win in the B main event, followed by Joshua Hart with the last lap pass over third place Scott Monksgaard, then Patrick Cobb and Zane Walters in that 5th position. All right, you guys, so they're going to run the track in, and we will be back in just a moment. All right, everybody, as these guys are now finishing up here with their warm-up before the feature, we've got tonight's redraw all set, as it's going to be Kyler Bruce on the pole. So Bruce won set fast time, won his heat race, and on the redraw, lucked out, and he's going to get the pole for tonight's 40-lap A main event, and outside of him is going to be Brandon Freeberg. But tough break for Travis St. Clair, as he's going to have to start from the 6th position in the feature, which 6th place, not a bad starting spot, but when you've got the 2 people behind you in points starting on the front row, gonna be a tough hurdle to overcome for St. Clair in tonight's feature.
Yeah, but you and I both know that 40 laps is a long way to go, and if anyone can battle up to the front, it's the guy that's Travis St. Clair. So I'm looking forward to seeing him move up through the field here and give those top two guys, at least in the future here, a good run for their money. Should be a good race.
Yes, it should be a good race. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here as we are now set to get underway. As on the pole, it will be Kyler Bruce with Brandon Freeberg to his outside. We're going to have to wait for these guys to pull out onto the track here. All right, as our first three rows are now set, and we've got Kyler Bruce and Brandon Freeberg on the front row. And then row number 2, we've got Jeremy Prey on the inside and Blake Andrews on the outside.
Row 3 has Scott Smith on the inside, and on his outside is our points leader Travis St. Clair. Row 4, Joey Neese. On the outside is Brandon Haltmeyer.
Then we've got Ryan Burkhart in the 9th position, and outside of Burkhart is Justin Powell. Then in spot number 11 is Lane Stevens, and outside of Stevens is Ryan Wagenschutz.
And in position number 13, that's going to be Jason Korn. On his outside of row 7, that is Joshua Hart. And in P15, Scott Monksguard and Patrick Cobb on his outside in position number 16. Zane Walters, Brendan Howell, and Dylan Babcock will round out our field here tonight for this 40-lap feature.
All right, so we are now set to go here for our 40-lap A main event, and we are underway as Kyler Bruce jumps out to a quick lead over Brandon Freeberg with Jeremy Prey right behind him in third place as they are 3 wide coming out of turn number 2 with Andrews, Prey, and Freeberg battling for that third position.
You see Freeberg dunked right down to that bottom lane and had a lot of grip coming out of the corner, and he was able to pass the leader here and take over that pole position.
Yes, he was, and that's got him a big gap as Kyler Bruce got into that wall there in 1 and 2, and that's allowed Freeberg to pull away from Bruce as now Scott Smith looking to the inside of Kyler Bruce for that second position.
We got trouble on the front stretch here going into turn number 1. Brian Wagenschutz is the car that's all out of whack.
Let's see if we can take a look at that. Wagenschutz comes out of 4 there. Oh, and he just slides up into, it looks like Brandon Holtmeyer in the 76, and it looks like he also collected Lane Stevens there. So tough break for Holtmeyer and Stevens and Wagenschutz as that's going to move them to the back of the pack. Holtmeyer looks like his night is done as he flipped over there in turn number 2. So tough break for those guys.
Yeah, wrong place, wrong time there for Holtmeyer.
Yep, and that happens sometimes. It's just tough break.
Like we're all lined up to try this one more time here. Pace light, or the lights are off out here. The pace truck. It's going to be Brandon Freeberg this time, bringing the field to the green flag. See if he takes that inside lane again and pulls away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, he's definitely looked good so far on the bottom. It is early, but we'll have to see what happens here as we are back under green as we have our lap number 5 here as Freeberg dives right back down to that bottom, and he's got a whole host of cars following him as Scott Smith and Joey Neese are all on that bottom as Kyler Bruce and Blake Andrews trying to make something work in the middle and the top. Oh, as Smith
Contact.
comes up just a little bit. It looks like Bruce might have avoided it, but they are 3 wide behind as you've got Neese, Burkhart, and Andrews all battling right now for that 4th position with our points leader, Travis St. Clair, trying to find his way through this hornet's nest of cars in front of him.
Yeah, nowhere really for St. Clair to go right now. He's kind of just got to follow the train in front of him around the top here until he can see a lane to make a pass anywhere else. Right now it's a little bit early in the race to be making anything crazy, so maybe he's just going to let some laps wind down. Maybe he's got a setup in for late.
Well, we've seen Travis come from the back before, and tonight he only had to come from 6, so if anyone can do it, he can definitely do it. But up front right now, it is all Brandon Freeberg as he is slowly pulling away from Kyler Bruce and Scott Smith in that 2nd and 3rd position.
You see he did move back up to that top lane there, and that's just as it was in all the heat races, just carrying so much momentum. He is starting to pull away, just like the guys running outside here were able to pass. I believe that's Blake Andrews.
Yes, as Blake Andrews now into that 3rd position as Smith is now falling back behind. It looks like St. Clair who's got around him, so Smith's dropped all the way back to the 5th position as that top line seems to really be coming in for these guys as Kyler Bruce is trying to catch back up to the leader Brandon Freeberg, and he's got Blake Andrews and Travis St. Clair hooked up and towing them along.
Brandon Freeberg is loving this right now as he's got himself quite the lead, and he's going to start pulling away. We'll see how long it takes before he maybe catches lap traffic. See if that will play a factor tonight.
Well, it is all Brandon Freeberg up front right now as he's got himself a 2-second gap over Kyler Bruce, who's got his hands full with Blake Andrews and Travis St. Clair all over his rear bumper right now.
Yeah, you see positions 2, 3, and 4 is pretty much nose to tail. They're just a train riding around that top side right now. We'll see how long these guys can stay patient before they try to force their hand at anything. Andrew seems to get a better run down the backstretch, but he just doesn't want to give up that top lane and get passed on the outside. As you see here, St. Clair's going to take a look here on the inside, see if he can find any grip down there. Doesn't look like it. Like I said earlier, that top lane is just carrying way too much momentum right now.
Yes, it is. That top is just really, really fast, and when this track gets that cushion built up, it's hard to beat that top line. It's just so fast, and you can carry so much speed. As you can see right now, Blake Andrews got the run, and he's going to look for the slide job on Kyler Bruce as he slides up to the wall. Bruce looks to cut underneath, and he's able to make it as Andrews got into the wall there, and that's going to open the door for the 13 of Travis St. Clair as he takes advantage of it into the 3rd position, but he gets into the wall. And that's going to open the door for Blake Andrews to now make a move and get back up into that 3rd position. So these guys swapping back and forth, making these sliders, but tagging that wall coming out of the corner. St. Clair once again throws a slide job. This time stays out of the wall, and it looks like he's going to be able to power past Andrews and hold on to that 3rd position as we are like 22 laps to go out of this 40-lap A main event.
And with those two throwing those sliders back and forth at each other, gave Kyler Bruce a little bit of breathing room as he pulled away from them, but he's still got a long way to go if he wants to catch up to our leader here, Brandon Freeberg.
Yes, it has been all Freeberg as he's running his own race right now as he's down low in 1 and 2, and he is just slowly pulling away lap after lap, running that bottom. He has been running the opposite of everybody else tonight. In his heat race, he ran the bottom when they were on the top. At the start of this, he went to the bottom. Then he went up to the top. Now he's back down low, and he's making it work as he has got himself a 2-second gap over Kyler Bruce as he now moves back up to that cushion as we've got 19 laps to go, just past the halfway mark in this feature event.
And you see just ahead of Freeberg is Lane Stevens here, so he is starting to catch some of those lap cars that were damaged early on in the race. We'll see how easy it is for him to get around them, or if they're going to make it difficult for him. As you see, he's going to throw right onto the inside of Lane Stevens here. Probably going to get a good run like he has all night and makes Lane Stevens our first lap car.
Yeah, Stevens missing most of his front end there from that incident on lap number 2. And Freeberg makes quick work of it as he's now got the 117 car in his sights.
See Kyler Bruce and Blake Andrews here.
Travis St. Clair just got around Kyler Bruce there for the second position. So now St. Clair's got 16 laps to go to try to reel in Brandon Freeberg, and Freeberg's lead is being cut down as it's now only a 1.5 second lead, where he had about a 2-second lead just a few laps to go. So we'll have to see if St. Clair can reel him in as he's got 15 laps to do it.
He's got that car on a rail right now, riding around that cushion on the top side here. Like you said, that leads down to 1.7 seconds now as he crosses the line with about 12 laps to go.
So Travis St. Clair really needs a caution right now, and that's the last thing that Brandon Freeberg wants to see as we've got 13 laps to go in this 40-lap main event. St. Clair's got that lead cut down to under 2 seconds, but he just can't seem to gain any more as it looks like Freeberg's moved back up top and has been able to stabilize that gap over second place Travis St. Clair.
St. Clair did just cut off 0.2 of a second that lap here, and I don't know if he's going to have enough time to do it, but it should be fun to watch here.
Yes, Freeberg's up front dealing with some lap cars, and that's going to slow him down, but St. Clair's going to have to deal with them as well, so we'll have to see if it balances itself back out. But this time, Freeberg able to get around the lap car in the 57 as he pulled down low and just gave that top to our leader as we've got 10 laps to go in this 40-lap A main event.
And to go, and the gap from Travis St. Clair to Brandon Freeberg is 1.4 seconds.
So he's taking time off of it, but right now he's going to need to cut more than 1/10 of a second per lap, about 0.2 of a second per lap, and I don't know if he can do that. Brandon Freeberg is definitely no slouch in these cars, as he has shown tonight. He has got that thing hooked up and is moving.
And it doesn't look like any of these lap cars in front of him are running the same line as him, so it shouldn't slow him up too much as he's going to get around these guys.
No, it shouldn't. I think the only way that St. Clair is going to be able to catch him is if we get a caution. Even if he does catch him, it's one thing to catch him, it's another thing to pass him.
Absolutely. Gap is 1.2 seconds now, so like you said, he is cutting into that time, but he is running out of laps to dwindle it down even more, and there is another lap car in between him and the leader. 5 laps to go here for Brandon Freeberg.
So Brandon Freeberg looking for his 3rd win of the season. As he came into this race, 2nd place in points. He was 8 points behind Travis St. Clair, who's in 2nd place in this race. So these guys, the top 3 in the points, have been battling all season long, and right now they're continuing it as Brandon Freeberg's got just 3 laps to go to get his 3rd win of the season, as that gap is cut down to 1 second, and I don't think St. Clair is going to have enough time to catch him.
Yep, St. Clair is going to throw absolutely everything he's got in these last 2 laps here as he brings it down to 0.8 seconds. So the speed is there. Will he have enough time to do it? as our leader Freeberg here is coming around 3 and 4. He's going to see the white flag. There is some traffic in front of him, but this last lap shouldn't be too hard for him.
Travis St. Clair is behind him. He's about a half a second behind. He has caught the leader, but we are on the last lap as Brandon Freeberg now enters turn 3 with a host of lap cars in front of him, but I don't think it's going to matter as Brandon Freeberg out of turn 4 is going to win here at Eldora with Travis St. Clair in second and Blake Andrews edging out Kyler Bruce for third. So Brandon Freeberg scores his third win of the season over Travis St. Clair and Blake Andrews. So good race by these guys. Only one caution early on. We had a very long green flag run, about 38 green flag laps there, so that's always an awesome thing to see. And it was Brandon Freeberg from the start. He was able to take the lead early, and he just checked out and pretty much wasn't challenged until the very end. St. Clair got close, but wasn't able to get him. Did not have enough laps there in the end.
He made it interesting, though.
He did.
Got to give it to him for that.
So, your results for tonight's 40-lap A main event. Once again, your winner is Brandon Freeberg, followed by Travis St. Clair, Blake Andrews, Kyler Bruce, and Scott Smith rounding out your top 5 with Joey Neese, Justin M. Powell, Scott Monksgard, Jason Korn, and Ryan Burkhart rounding out the top 10. Then it's Brendan Howe, Zane Walters, Joshua Hart, Dylan Babcock, Lane Stevens, Jeremy Prey, Ryan Wagenschutz, and Brandon Holtmeyer. All right. So, you guys, that's going to do it all for us here at Eldora for the National Auto Racing Club Dirt Late Model Series presented by the School of Sim Racing. My name is Thomas Brandon. Thank you guys very much for joining us here. Jordan Eder, thank you very much for being here with the booth and me, man. Always fun.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
As always, man. I love it. So, you guys, that's going to do it. I will be back, though, in about 30 minutes for tonight's NARC All-Star Sprint Car Race. So, until then, as always, I want to wish you guys a good night and take care.